All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Passive Cash Flow podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Fragnito. We have an exciting guest today on the podcast, Dr. Pat. How are we doing today, Dr. Pat?
I'm doing fantastic, actually.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to have you on. I was impressed with your profile and your bio and where you've been and what you're doing and what you've done. And it's just really incredible. But I love your mindset of kind of the whole encumbersome part of life, from health to fitness and mindset as well. Not just money, which is important, but how we kind of build our careers, how we build ourselves to the next level. But you really take a whole holistic approach to it and take into account, your health and mindset, and of course your career and your business there. But can you tell our listeners here a little bit about what you do?
Yes, actually, I can. I am a coach with a mentor's heart, and I support and empower executives and entrepreneurs and business owners to reach their greatest goals in less time. Okay. And how I do that and why I do that is because I want them to avoid, so they don't sacrifice their careers, their relationships, or their lives on the way of doing it, and they still have a very good time and enjoying their life.
Okay, that's interesting. No, I like that. And so give me an example maybe of someone you've worked with or working with and how you've helped them out and that process there.
Well, I had a client who I absolutely love, and she's an internationally based client. And we started off, and I was thinking to, ask her, it's like, what are there any questions that you want to ask me? And what do you want to get out of our session today? And she said, well, I have this question and I'm almost embarrassed to ask you. And I said, what's that? She said, what's a protein? And, and I'm thinking, a lot of people, no matter who you are, sometimes don't understand the structural components of just simple things that you put in your mouth, and what you have control over. Yeah. So we started where she was at. And, we've been building on it. So one of the things that she did that I give her a lot of credit for is that she, actually kept an ingredient, because I have people monitor what they're putting in their mouth by looking at their ingredients, not just the food. And so she said to me one time, oh my God, I am actually wondering, no wonder I'm not feeling well. No wonder I'm tired all the time. And she says, I feel depleted in the middle of the day, if that's the end. And I said, and that is because all the foods that I'm eating or I've eaten a lot of time in my life, if I actually read the ingredients before, I never would have ate them.
Okay. Interesting.
And that was that. It's, what it did is it brought more awareness about how food and thought affect your productivity.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And a lot of people sometimes don't realize that. I just think of having Thanksgiving dinner every day. And how you can be absolutely exhausted if that was the case, right? And a lot of people eat like that all the time, but on lesser scales.
At People's Capital Group, we help you invest in real estate. Build your wealth by owning professionally managed apartment buildings in the northern New Jersey market. We want to show you how owning real estate is attainable, even for the busy professionals that don't have the time or experience investing in real estate. Now, we only work with select people who are serious about building wealth. So find out if you qualify at peoplescapitalgroup.com. Yeah, I've come to really recognize how much better I function through my workday when I have a light lunch. I like to eat salads a lot more as well. Like I really have completely changed my entire diet. And I've realized not only have I lost weight, but I feel better. I have more energy through the day. And I no longer even crave like cheeseburgers. Listen, I wouldn't turn one down every now and then, but I don't think I've had a cheeseburger in like 3 months maybe. And it's not like I'll never have one again, but it's just I really don't crave that. I crave salads. Now listen, I love to have meat on my salad. I definitely still like to have meat in my diet, but for the most part, I've been eating lighter. I've been really watching whatever I put in my body, and the hardest part is when my wife, for example, last night made a plate of brownies. And I'm sitting on the couch at 9 o'clock at night, and there's a big hot plate of brownies in front of me. I am so bad at saying no at the evening snacks, and I always feel hungry. And that's the worst time to eat, So if I just could cut that out, I could do better. But I'm trying to exercise 3 to 5 days a week minimum. I'm trying to eat right, and I'm noticing a difference in not only my palate and what I enjoy, what I want to eat, but also now I'm enjoying exercise more. I'm having more energy. I could do more reps in the gym. I have more strength, and I'm really starting to, I ran 3 miles the other day, pushing my child in his baby carriage. I got the dog in one hand, I got the baby carriage in the other. I'm going up the mountain, and I'm loving this. I used to kind of, oh, I got to go do my run, but I love it. It's my Sunday run, and it's just such a good time. And I've realized how important having that health and diet is into your business. I got to say, in my 20s, I was like, screw it. I'm just going to work crazy hours and I'll be successful in business. And that's all that matters. And I didn't have that balance. But so you try to help people find that balance ideally. Is that right?
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. Thank you. But the thing about the brownies, I want to ask you to ask your wife, why did she make them? You know, and because that's, looking at the behavioral part of like how what your behavior is with food,
Yeah.
And what she could do with them if she wanted to make them is put them in the freezer and then cut them up in smaller bite-sized pieces. So if you had a glass of wine at the end of the day, you have a small, like an 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch square, so that you could have that. And it would be something that, the wine would complement it actually. And I presume they're organic brownies that she made. And and so that you could, so you have the better benefit of that, and digestion.
Right.
Because it isn't
right.
like it's bad to have something that has as a sweet, but you've got to choose it. And and I had a client that was from Saudi Arabia, and he was in school in England, and he one time called me up panicking from the airport, and he said, "Tell me again, how do I tell my mother no?" And because she's going to make all my foods for me, and he's on the phone, he's like, whipped up, and I just said, you just tell her, you get home, just say, I'm learned how to cook very differently, and I want to share a meal with you. Let's go to the market and let's go buy the meal, and then you can cook for her. He goes, not in my mother's kitchen.
Yeah, no, I think that's a misunderstanding of culture. I mean, that's the problem I run into also. I have trouble going home and not eating a ton of food. My mom, first thing she does, put food in front of me. She's a great cook, and it's insulting to not eat the food that people make for you. I mean, I hate it when I make dinner for my wife and she doesn't eat it. I'm extremely insulted.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in an Italian neighborhood, and the lady next door, when I came home after being in Boston in my office on the Cape for the first couple of years, I went by to go see her, and she goes, "What's wrong with the men in Boston? They don't know how to feed you. Look how skinny you are." Now, A, I was not skinny at all. And B, she said, "Here, I made some chicken soup." So she didn't serve me chicken soup in a normal bowl. It was like in a Pyrex mixing bowl, the middle size one. "Oh, I forgot to give you chicken." And then she came back and put more broth in and put the chicken, and I go, oh my God. I said, don't we have normal bowls here? Because I was so used to eating, very differently. But I grew up in that, when somebody can't, when they gave you it, and then and paying attention to that, like, how do you get out of that very politely, and you just say, oh, my doctor's got me on a special diet right now. And and that's just, and you can tell them I said so. And so that you can just like, you can politely, and so because what it is you feel guilty, and you shouldn't feel guilty about saying, I'm not into eating that right now. Like, can I take some home?
Yeah.
That's something else. Just like, I'm so full, I had a big meal, blah, 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 and because I know Italians, and even when I have gone to Italy, it's just like and I don't eat pasta. And at lunchtime, that's what they eat. And so anytime I was invited out, I started saying no to lunch, because dinner, you don't have that issue, because that's all they eat at lunch is pasta, the average person. And, so, but the thing is that when you're in sync
Mhm.
with the foods that you're eating. It helps you think better, it helps you feel better, and it helps you move better. And when you're
Mhm.
thinking better, feeling better, moving better, you are more highly productive.
Mm.
You're not sacrificing, it's just like you can give it your all in your career, you can give it all in your relationships, and you're
Mhm.
not sacrificing your life, and you're still having fun. Because
Mhm.
it's like I always want my clients to do good, have fun. I want them to thrive. But
Mhm.
it's also learning how to pace yourself and understanding the difference between like Einstein's time as opposed to Newtonian time. And a lot of times, since you're a parent, you'll understand Newtonian time, especially, or how you tortured your parents when you were a teenager and in college. When you said, I'm going to be home at 7 o'clock,
Right.
and it's now 9 o'clock and you still weren't home
Right.
and they didn't hear from you. So in Einstein's time, they would have just continued doing whatever they needed to do. And Newtonian time, they're counting every second and every minute because they take theirs out of their natural space and they go into an element of worrying about you
Mm.
until
Okay.
you walk in the door, and
Yeah.
then they can relax,
Right.
and a lot of times if people use Einstein's time to really be more productive, they get more done in
Sure.
less time.
Well, of course.
And you're just like, it's like the day that you kind of feel like, it's like when you're running up the hill and now you're going, I'm in my vibe, I'm in my groove, I can do this. I've got a dog, I got a kid, I got a carriage, and
Mhm.
going up the hill is not a hassle,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and you look
Mhm.
forward to spending that specialized time.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
also not only good for your daughter or son, it's
Right.
also good for the dog and it's also good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're
Absolutely.
connecting with nature, right?
Sure.
There's
Sure.
all those pieces of the puzzle mean something in the
Yeah.
big makeup and big game plan of life,
Oh, and Dr.
right?
Pat, of course, it's best for my wife because she gets some peace and quiet while I leave with the dog and the our
Yeah.
son for an hour, and me as well. I'm a handful, huge nuisance. Uh, so so no,
Aaron, I
that's
can't
good.
imagine that.
I, oh yes, but that is one of the challenges of living with someone that likes to eat sweets, right?
Mhm.
And you got to pick and choose your battles in a marriage, right?
Happy
Me,
wife, happy life.
yes, exactly. Is on the tip of my tongue. Yes. So me saying to my wife, like, don't make brownies, or put those brownies in the freezer and cut out a 1 inch square. That's not going to go over so well. You kind of have to let, your partner do what they're going to do. Sometimes if it's not harming anyone, I know she loves to eat sweets at night and I know she loves to bake and it's kind of a
Mhm.
happy place. So, bake away. And, she lets me go ride my dirt bike, or whatever. I built a dirt bike track in our backyard. So,
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
yeah, we kind of have
Yeah.
an understanding, like, you only live life once and, just do the things that make you happy. If it's making brownies, at night, and that's great for her. If it's making a dirt bike track in your backyard, that's great for me, but we kind of we allow each other to be in our lane and kind of do what we need to do.
But
But
also,
mhm,
though, you can also, people are always open to suggestion,
mm,
and so she loves to make brownies. She's listening to this, I'm going to
I
presume.
know.
Um, and so if, she loves to make brownies, you could also just go take yourself down to Trader Joe's, for instance, and
Mhm.
they have a gluten-free brownie,
Oh,
that's in there that
yeah.
if you go buy, organic, use coconut oil,
Okay.
2 eggs, and a can of pumpkin,
Mhm.
organic pumpkin, and mix it and then put water in to make it even with walnuts and 85% dark chocolate or more, then it gives her an opportunity to try a different way of that.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like, playing it on. I'm not saying you should never have it,
Mhm.
or you shouldn't do that, but a lot of times, my concern about sugar is that it's very inflammatory. So
Mm.
if you got something going on, and it's accumulatory also over a long period of time, and it damages the gut. So,
Mm.
and a lot of people can handle that in a younger age, but they don't handle it when they get older. And they also start having some of those like things that are submerged that they're feeding. Because you're either, feeding your life and moving forward, or you're feeding the disease. So it's just something to consider how much sugar somebody's really intaking,
Yeah.
and because you have to be mindful of, what your ultimate goal and outcome is. Because my
Okay.
goal would be to have all your people in, is to like enjoy the wealth that they created,
Yeah. Yeah.
with, high performance health,
Right.
and
Right.
that's what I help people do is I help them to achieve that and still have fun,
Mhm.
and if you're going to sin well.
Yeah, what it is with health and exercise, I always looked at it as, oh, I'm doing this for someone else. I'm doing it
Hmm.
to get that,
Yep.
when I was single, right, to impress that woman I wanted to impress, or to look like that businessman that I, is in great shape, Grant Cardone or something like that, right? Guy,
Hmm.
works out, uses muscles to kind of sell.
Right.
So it was always for someone else or some other thing I was trying to achieve or be that wasn't really me. And after about 4 weeks of exercising, you burn out. You're like,
Hmm.
I don't
Or
even care about that
sooner.
girl anymore. I found a
Hmm.
new girl, or I found a new
Right.
idol, or like I'm tired of doing things for other people. Like I don't even care. So, and then I realized, wait a minute, you exercise for yourself and you eat right for yourself, because we are living, breathing human beings, and like we don't always recognize that. We kind of just like feel like robots sometimes, oh, and I put this in my body and I put this, and it's so natural to go out and a cheeseburger and beer, it's just like it's on the menu. It's what, hot dogs or whatever, and pasta, are the diet in our culture is not very healthy, especially if you live in an Italian family. You go home for dinner, you don't have a whole lot of healthy options. And then what are you doing? You're sitting at the dinner table eating like the garden salad that, it's like if everyone makes fun of you because you're not eating the entrees and you're like mouth watering over the pasta. So it's very, very hard in those, but for the most part, Monday through Friday, I'm pretty good about, exercising for myself, eating right for
Hmm.
myself, recognizing I'm doing these things for my own health, for my own self. And in my 20s, I can get away without doing it. But now in my 30s, I'm realizing, wow, if I don't exercise for a week, I notice it. I feel it. Heck, for 2 days, I
Hmm.
notice it. Right. And I really now come to a time where I actually look forward to that. And I've like, my body almost has like this built up energy between like 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. that it like needs to get out. And if I don't get it out, I'm unhappy, or if I eat something heavy for lunch instead of a light salad or something, I really feel it. So you develop these good habits and it becomes a lot easier to implement in your day, because now it's like, after, what do they say, after 30 days, it becomes a habit. Is that right?
Actually, no. Um, it can become a habit. You want habits to become rituals, good ones at least.
Right.
And so you can have a habit that changes into a ritual in 18 days, and the average is around 66 days.
Mm-hmm.
And with the idea of it, usually the longest time that's measured is about 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at the 21 or 21 90-day rule,
Mm-hmm.
is that you do something, you pick something for 21 days to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then you succeed at it. So if you screw it up, then you start all over again what your 21 days is, but you do it for 21 days. And then, you repeat it for the next 90. Well, if you did 21 in 90 days, that's 111 days. So you're better than most people who don't do it by 66 days.
Mm. Okay.
Right? If you're looking
Okay.
at those numbers.
Sure.
And so when you're looking at, like habits that create healthier experience, you want to anchor in those happier, healthier experiences, because you did that. You described that. What happens with people, like you're have a happy wife because she's got an hour to her own self. You got the
Mm-hmm.
baby, you got the carriage, you're like running up the hill and you're feeling really good and you're anchoring yourself in the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
Mm-hmm.
feeding that good vibe into that. So when you
Mm-hmm.
don't do that on a regular basis,
Yeah.
then your endorphin levels and your chemistry in your body is going like, wait a minute, what happened to it?
Right. Right. Where are all those
And
endorphins? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and because you want that back because it makes you feel good. And if
Yes.
you feel good, you're going to want to do it again and again and again. And
Mm-hmm.
without being, and then it becomes a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have
Mm-hmm.
that ritual, like one ritual, I always tell people to make a habit into a ritual is drink 16 ounces of water as soon as you get up in the morning. You
Mm.
need to bathe your internal organs. A lot of people are dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just like, and a lot of accidents that people happen because of their dehydration.
Wow.
levels are high.
Yeah.
So it's just like a lot of runners who have like, they like blow out their hamstring,
Mhm.
or, like they trip and they fall. A lot of times
Mhm.
people, they need that hydration because you need it for every cell in your body. You need it for every organ system in your body in order to
Mhm.
function properly.
Mhm.
And, and so having that bit, and if you have a hard time drinking water, you can drink it with a straw, then you're not swallowing air. Because when you're
Mhm.
swallowing air, psychologically, you're telling your brain you're drowning, and you don't want that to happen. So you're going to try to swallow more air. And then it
Mhm.
won't, most people, fray away from having water because of different reasons. It doesn't taste good, put lemon in it. And so those are like simple things that you can create into a smaller habit. But the habit stuff has got, it takes practice, and practice makes permanent.
Mhm.
And it's just making those lifestyle choices. What's important
Yeah.
to me? Am I willing to do what it takes to be healthy? Am I willing to invest in my health?
Right.
And
Right. Of
then
course.
if those answers are, yes and yes, then
Mhm.
you have to map out a plan. And when you map out a plan, it's best to do it with somebody who has experience at individualizing that per person,
Mhm.
because
Right.
everyone's different. Your DNA, you're not your DNA, you're how your DNA expresses itself in your environment. So
Mm.
that's where you look at, the foods that you eat, the air that you breathe, the water that you're drinking, and, and you're looking in your environment for the gardening things that you have, and also, the cleaning things you have in your house. You got to read labels,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
those things have toxic chemicals in it that you're constantly imploding in your body. In
Wow.
2010, the CDC released, when I always say when they're telling the truth, I say it very fondly,
Mhm.
when they were telling the truth, that out of 2,500 participants
Yeah.
across the United States,
Mhm.
you know, all of those participants had
Mhm.
212 potentially dangerous chemicals in their body, in their
Wow.
urine, in their blood. That's
Wow.
huge. So people like wonder why they start to get sick, and you got to
Yeah.
take a look at what your environmental exposure is. So if you
Right.
don't know that, then you're thinking like, oh, I'm just getting old.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's just like that's what happens,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it's just like, and then like, why am I tired all the time?
Mhm.
It's just you have to take it back, and you got to take a look at the whole picture so that
Right.
you can make better decisions. Because when you can make better decisions, you'll have better outcomes physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Because you'll
Mhm.
be able to have
Mhm.
you'll own your space and you'll own your life.
Sure, sure. I like that. I like that. That's really amazing. I always wonder that. I was cleaning off the living room table the other day with your normal kind of cleaning spray, and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, how many chemicals are in this? We don't even think about this. Just this is a name brand thing, and I'm rubbing the table, and my 1.5-year-old son, pretty much puts everything in his mouth that he could
Hmm.
possibly think of, right? And so, whatever it is, yeah, it goes right into his mouth. So it's all covered in all the stuff we use to clean, and it's really pretty wild, about like yeah, what's
You
actually
got to
in
read
there. Yeah.
labels,
Yeah.
this last
Mm.
weekend I was at a corporate meeting in
Mhm.
Illinois for a startup that I'm involved in, and I was staying at the house of the one of the owners of the company, ex-wife. And
Mhm.
she had this house. This house was great.
Mhm.
She all the water, the whole water system, and the house is treated. So what you drank and what you took a shower in, what you washed your hands in,
Yeah.
what your clothes got washed in,
Right.
didn't have the fluoride, which is a neurotoxin that you're drinking every day if you have a regular tap water, which I highly
Yeah.
not recommend,
Right.
and the chlorine that's in that aspect also.
Right. Right.
So, but it was such a treat,
Mhm.
because, my problem was that when we had a photo shoot, because of the water was treated differently, and that I had to figure out what to do with my hair. Because it was different water, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, because my hair was just like, very silky, very straight, and I'm
Mm.
thinking this is not the day for that to happen. and but it was really a great experience,
Mhm.
because the house was environmentally friendly
Mhm.
from when you walked in to when you walked out.
Oh,
And
interesting.
a lot of people don't have that in their
Yeah.
houses. So
Yeah.
they have tap water, and that
Mhm.
fluoride's on your skin. So 65% of what you put on your skin gets absorbed in your body.
Wow.
You gotta read labels,
Yeah.
and you have to know what you're putting on your body, because what goes on your skin goes in your body.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's incredible, and I mean the pharmaceutical companies, and I don't even want to get into that's a whole other podcast episode. It's a whole other pod. We're gonna get,
Let's not talk about that today.
yeah, we're gonna get censored on YouTube here, and but no, I mean it's my faith in essentially the CDC and pharmaceutical companies has just been diminished in the last 2.5 years. But anyway, it's a whole different podcast episode. Well, it's really incredible, Dr. Pat. I think we touched on a lot of things here, from eating healthy and exercising right to improve your overall life and mindset and spirituality. And well, we didn't really talk about spirituality, but just kind of having those habits that become rituals to improve what you do in the day, keep those endorphins up, make sure you understand what you're putting in your body. But read those labels, right? Read those labels, from cleaning materials to your food. Learning how to say no to your Italian mother who puts delicious meals in front of you every
What's the
time
matter with you?
and says, I got to fatten you up. Like, no, I work so hard to not be fat. I mean, it's so hard to not be fat. So absolutely all those challenges we have in life. But Dr. Pat, how can people connect with you to learn more about how you can help them in those places?
Well, one thing that all your listeners can do is they can go out and buy my book, which is a second edition bestseller internationally, called Why Are You Sick, Fat, and Tired? And that book is a workbook, a guidebook, and an advocating tool, so that you can know exactly where to start your health journey. You know where to spend your time, your energy, and your money without any excuses, of where to focus on your health and what needs attention now,
Right.
so it doesn't necessarily become a crisis. That's one way. Another way is on my website, healthteamnetwork.com. I'm on LinkedIn. That's how you and I met it. And it says Dr. Pat Boulogne. And also on Instagram. And I have a Facebook page, and I have a personal page there also. And those are the best places to reach out to me.
Okay.
I'm very
Excellent.
accessible, and I'm very approachable. I don't bite.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So what's that website one more time?
Healthteamnetwork.com.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So thank you to our listeners, and thank you, Dr. Pat, for coming on the show here. I really liked our topic. It was different than what we talk about a lot. It wasn't really about passive investing or real estate or life insurance or business so much. It was more about, health and wellness, which is extremely important. Yes.
Well, you have to have your health in order to make better decisions, and
Yeah.
in your industry where you're looking at, like, the money and the real estate and that whole aspect, you want to be on your game. If you want to be on your game, you've got to take care of your health. It's essential, to have high performance health that you're expressing every day consistently.
Absolutely. That's just what I was about to say, but you took the words right out of my mouth. So, and that's it. And that's what I've personally realized is my exercise routine, my diet is very important. My spirituality as well. All these things work into creating a good, healthy businessman on a Monday morning. And, that's what's really, every morning, right? So that's what's really important today. We have to always have a level head and be the best we can be out there. And that's how you thrive in any business, but and in life in general. Enjoy life. It's too short to be fat and unhealthy and unhappy, right? So enjoy it. Be proud of how
You want to age gracefully. You don't
age
want to
gracefully.
age with issues.
There you go. I like that.
Right?
Age gracefully. Definitely, definitely. Excellent. Well, to our listeners there that are enjoying aging gracefully or not aging gracefully, you can talk to Dr. Pat, and she can help you with your health and wellness there and your mindset. And then as you work with Dr. Pat and build your wealth to the next level, you go to peoplescapitalgroup.com and check out all the different apartment building offerings we have there and how we help people invest in New Jersey real estate and build wealth. So it's important to have your health and your mindset there and your personal life in order, but also then to build that wealth as you create it, make your money work for you, keep that money working 24/7. And one of the ways to do that is apartment buildings and is real estate syndication into apartment buildings. So that's what we do here at People's Capital Group. We help people passively invest in apartment buildings in New Jersey so they can earn all the benefits of owning real estate without having to do the heavy lifting behind the scenes they can learn more about that at peoplescapitalgroup.com, where you can enjoy our weekly podcast we do here, our monthly webinars, and we have upcoming personal events, in-person events, the third Tuesday of the month, and at the Jersey Cyclone Brewery in Somerset, New Jersey. So if you are local, check out our networking events. They are a packed house. It's an awesome time. We have all different types of people there, people in the industry, out of the industry, high net worth individuals, people getting started in real estate investing. So that's the third Tuesday of the month at the Jersey Cyclone Brewery in Somerset, New Jersey. Check that out. Go to peoplescapitalgroup.com to learn more. And thank you so much, Dr. Pat, for coming on the show today.
It's a pleasure. I love helping people build a legacy so that they can really enjoy it.
Legacy
Thrive.
wealth. Absolutely. Legacy wealth. That's what most of our episodes are about. Legacy wealth. There you go. You want to be around and enjoy that legacy. Absolutely. Definitely.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you. Have a good day.